It's a great day to undo some Biden administration nonsense, and today, we're going after a big one. The ATF's illegal, near billion record gun registry. Stick around to hear about how we're working with Senator Risch and Congressman Cloud to not only end the ATF's collection of your background check forms, but also destroy the existing records. Hi, I'm Ben Sanderson, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. Before we get into the video today, I wanted to remind you to sign up for our action alerts. It's a completely free tool to help you fight for gun rights from our big federal level battles, like concealed carry reciprocity, to the state and local level fights. You'll be prepared with who to contact, why to contact them, and what to tell them. So be sure to sign up at the link below. Okay, so back to the video. We're proud to support the reintroduction of Representative Cloud's No Registry Rights Act, and drumroll please, the first ever introduction in the Senate thanks to Senator Risch of Idaho. Now, if this is the first time you've heard about the ATF's illegal registry or No Registry Rights Act, be sure to check out the awesome in-depth video series we did or the entire report a few years ago. But in the meantime, let me give you the recap. In 2021, an informant at ATF leaked this document to GOA that said it had processed over 54 million records that year. Now, we thought that was scary, and so did Representative Cloud and 52 other members of Congress who wrote a letter to ATF demanding to know what was going on. And what we got back absolutely shocked the world. ATF admitted that not only did they process 54 million records that year, but they had nearly 1 billion records, with over 90% of that being in digital form. That's actually when folks like J.D. Vance went on Tucker Carlson tonight to talk about it.
So you think about it, this database is ultimately a backdoor to a gun registry in this country. And if you look at what liberals have done in Europe, at what they've done in Australia, once you allow a gun registry, you effectively allow the disarming of your citizenry. This is ultimately about destroying the Second Amendment, just as the Democrats' alliance with big tech is about destroying the First Amendment. And my basic argument here, Tucker, is look, if the Democrats are going to ignore the heavily armed drug cartels on our southern border, but use the ATF to go after law-abiding citizens, why don't we just get rid of the ATF?
And Representative Jim Jordan, the head of the Judiciary Committee, also went on Laura Ingraham too.
The Biden ATF disclosed to lawmakers that it manages a database of nearly 1 billion firearm purchase records, including both digital and hard copy versions of these transactions. Congressman Michael Cloud warns the ATF's database could be exploited by the Biden administration to surveil American gun owners as it pursues new restrictions on firearms. Joining me now, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, you actually wrote a letter back in November voicing your concern about this, but this is beyond anything you ever feared even at this point, correct?
No, this is frightening. You got the FBI going after parents. You got the DOJ setting up a domestic terrorism unit. Now we find out the ATF is going after law-abiding gun owners. I mean, I think about this. Hillary Clinton destroyed 30,000 emails while she was under investigation, and now every single gun purchase by a law-abiding American is being preserved. So what? So that the federal government can set up a national database? This is scary stuff, what they've done to our First Amendment rights and now what they're doing to our Second Amendment liberties, all from one administration, all in a single year. So, yeah, there's a number of us who are very concerned about this, and this is why we wrote the letter. And frankly, we didn't realize it was quite this number of purchases over the last 20-some years that the federal government is now compiling.
And now they say the records are being digitized for, searchability. So if you're not keeping a gun registry, I mean, look, I'm not an expert in this. I don't pretend to be, but the digitizing apparently was a surprise to members of Congress. The government, the Biden administration says, no, we're just keeping the records in West Virginia. I guess that's where they're stored. But, given the tendency to surveil Americans and tendency to think the worst of Americans expressing, free speech rights, there's an understandable cause for concern.
So then, GOA's legal team filed a Freedom of Information Act request to learn more about ATF's capabilities with this illegal gun registry, and that was shocking too. ATF gave GOA the actual manual for the machine to scan Forms 4473, complete with a diagram of the registration module. And we've got screenshots of the search bars and the search results they can use too. For example, search up every 4473 for an AR-15. This would just be perfect for some tyrannical government looking to ban an entire category of firearms, right?
Это маникомио. Вы хотите меня видеть? Да, идите в спортивния и рабочая викиде и принесите мне государственные формы 4473. Желтое, то картотеки,
In short, Our report was damning. So Congress decided to press ATF Director Stephen Dettelbach about the capabilities of this gun registry.
A December 2021 ATF memo alerted the American people that the ATF was maintaining a digital, searchable, centralized registry of guns and gun owners in violation of various federal prohibitions and contrary to what you testified to under oath today. In response, Representative Michael Cloud and 52 House members sent the ATF a letter dated November 22, 2021. ATF responded to that letter stating that it had 920,664,765 records, 865,787 and 86,000 of which are in a digitalized format, which Gun Owners of America has proved to be searchable. This was discovered shortly after ATF was revealed to have processed over 54 million records in a single year. What is the latest record count for ATF's illegal digital searchable national gun registry?
0. We obey the law.
According to your letter, you have over 865 million of these records are in digitalized format. You have admitted it.
And then Congress started getting into the nitty-gritty details of the registry. It turns out ATF stores all these records in Excel sheets and PDF files. Yep, the same files that you use to enter data or download documents off the internet is where your gun purchase records are stored. This is in violation of multiple federal laws and goes against the intent of Congress when they passed the registry prohibition in the Firearms Owner Protection Act. So Congressman Clyde asked the ATF director how the heck they were in compliance with federal laws prohibiting gun registries and prohibiting the searching of records by name, and this is what he had to say.
How much of ATF's budget goes to digitizing out-of-business records in a database?
I am not sure of the exact number. I can get back to you with that number. Obviously, we receive
how much?
We receive tens of millions of paper records at ATF.
Okay.
They come in waterlogged boxes sometimes. It's incredibly difficult task. These are also
is the digital database that is being created a searchable database?
We are, as far as I know, the only customer that pays additional money to have search function taken out of Adobe Acrobat.
So how is it searchable?
We do not search in the specific ways that Congress has said that we can't search, right? So,
well, that's not a very satisfying answer, is it? So let me get this straight. ATF pays Adobe extra money so that they can't search by name, but they can search by make, model, serial number, and more. And after they search for your gun, they pull up the digital 4473 with your name and address on it. How is that not the exact same thing with just more steps? Hint, it isn't. ATF is in total violation of the law. So cue the GOA bill. Congressman Clyde and Cloud were so pissed at Dettelbach's comments at the House Oversight hearing that they were able to force an amendment vote to last year's appropriation bill at committee.
What that rule does is it makes records be kept indefinitely so that when they're eventually turned over to ATF, they can become part of that registry. The ATF rule entitled Definition of Engaged in Business as a Firearms Dealer. This rule further pushes people toward having every firearm transfer documented with paperwork that, again, will eventually end up in ATF's possession, giving the opportunity to create, and as we have discussed already, ATF is creating a registry. And let me, I remind my colleagues of the law, 18 U.S.C. 926, where it says, nor that any system of registration, firearms, firearm owners, or firearm transactions or dispositions be established. That's the law, ladies and gentlemen. We need to ensure that our executive abides by the law.
And that anti-registry Clyde amendment actually worked. It got amended to the bill. The problem was that Congress never passed that bill because instead, they've just been doing CRs and kicking the can down the road. But that should all stop now that Republicans control the House and the Senate and that Trump is taking the White House. So there's a lot of momentum that GOA has built up for getting rid of this gun registry. And we need your help to push it over the finish line. That's why it's worth calling your senators and congressmen about this bill introduction. Dozens of gun bills have already been introduced, but we're highlighting this GOA-backed one because it's important to the ongoing conversation to solve this problem and eliminate this existential threat to the Second Amendment. Now that you know the background, why don't we hear more from Vice President Eric Pratt and Senator sponsor of the No Registry Rights Act, Senator Risch?
Hey, this is Eric Pratt with Gun Owners of America, and I'm so pleased today to be with Senator Risch of Idaho. Thank you so much for this very important legislation that you have introduced to rein in the ATF's illegal registry. We know because of FOIA requests that Gun Owners of America and other congressmen have submitted to the ATF. The ATF has 1 billion gun records, and over 900 million of them are already digitized, and sadly under the Biden administration, he issued an executive order to make those records permanent. They cannot be destroyed. So you have introduced the No Registry Rights Act. Can you just explain for folks what your bill does and why that bill is so important?
Sure. First of all, this is a great report, and people should go to the website and have a look at it. There's two kinds of documents that are created at the time of a gun sale. One, of course, is the background check that's done by the FBI, and the other one is a transaction report that's done by the seller of the firearm. Congress expressed its intent and said you do a background check, but those records must be destroyed within hours of the background check. Congress did not speak to the transaction documents. The result of that has been a series of executive orders that have required sellers of firearms to keep those kind of transactions, which was never the intent of Congress, never put in a bill. And now the Biden administration, as you indicated, has said that they go on into perpetuity. If a gun owner, if a gun shop goes out of business, they've got to give all those records to the ATF. And as you rightfully pointed out, there's about 1 billion records, about 1 billion transactions recorded there, 3 times the population of the United States, interestingly enough. But that's never been the intent of Congress. This bill lays that out and would get rid of those, get rid of all those transactions and require that they be destroyed. It was never the intent of Congress. It was never the intent of the founding fathers to require anything like that.
So your bill is so important. Representative Michael Cloud asked the ATF specifically, can you give me examples where these records have been useful in solving crimes, and they could not give him an answer. So we know there's only one reason why they want those gun owners' records. I mean, because a registration list historically has always been useful as a confiscation list. So your legislation would wipe that out. What would you encourage gun owners? How can they help build momentum for legislation like this?
Well, of course, obviously, people who vote do influence the people they voted for. So contact your congressman or your U.S. senator and tell them how you feel about this and encourage them to vote for it.
Absolutely. So call your congressman, call your senators, urge them to co-sponsor the No Registry Rights Act. This is really important legislation. Also check out our report, which documents, it's on our website at gunowners.org, but how this illegal registry came about to be and how the ATF can search it if they want to. It's all in here, so check that out. Pass it on to your gun-owning friends. Again, I want to thank you so much. This is really important. Let's help build the momentum for repealing and abolishing the entire ATF registry of gun owners' names. Thank you.
Now, the biggest takeaway from that video should be that gun registration leads to gun confiscation. That's why we need you to contact your senators and representatives and tell them to co-sponsor the No Registry Rights Act and reel in the rogue bureaucrats over at the ATF. Our bill would first of all delete the whole registry. That's over 1 billion records deleted. Then, our bill would also make ATF certify that all of the records have been destroyed so gun owners can rest assured. We can't let these tyrants save a copy of these records and hide it away for a rainy day gun confiscation raid. So please, pick up the phone and make a call to your representatives in support of this bill and help us destroy this gun registry. Now thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with GOA's latest fights for your rights.